Welcome to The Advocates. I'm Aaron Dean. According to a new report, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' so-called war on Disney may be targeting the state's largest economic driver. The study from Oxford economists show that Disney contributed over $40 billion to Florida's economy. Disney plays a supporting role in over 260,000 jobs and has generated over $6 billion in taxes while employing nearly 100,000 people. The company has also contracted with roughly 2,500 small businesses. The study was commissioned by Disney. Congressman George Santos now says that he won't seek re-election after the release of a House Ethics Committee report found that Santos used every aspect of his office to make himself rich. The committee says that it uncovered uncharged and unlawful conduct that goes beyond the current criminal allegations. They plan to send those findings to the Justice Department immediately. The investigation says that Santos engaged in knowing and willful violations. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries says Santos is not fit for office.
Seems to me that George Santos is unfit to serve as a member of Congress based on the clear lies that he had told to the people of the 3rd Congressional District in New York. He is a serial fraudster.
It would require 2/3 of the House or 290 votes to expel Santos. If expelled, Santos would be the 6th member of Congress removed by his own party. Several states are considering legal challenges that could keep former President Trump's name off the November ballot. The lawsuits in Colorado, New Hampshire, Minnesota, and Michigan are using the 14th Amendment's insurrectionist ban. According to the Constitution, anyone who takes an oath to support the Constitution will be banned from future office if they engage in an insurrection. Opponents of the 14th Amendment challenge say, let the voters decide, but former impeachment prosecutor and Congressman Jamie Reskin says that could be dangerous.
The authors of the 14th Amendment themselves dealt with that question, and they felt that if someone sets themselves at war against the Constitution and engages in the most profound anti-democratic act of trying to overthrow an election by installing themselves in office with an insurrection, then at that point they're constitutionally barred. And so when people say it's undemocratic, let the voters decide, that's like saying, well, let Vladimir Putin run for president, even though he's not a U.S. citizen, because it would be undemocratic to deny that choice to the voters.
Trump's team has defeated challenges in New Hampshire, Minnesota, and Michigan. Colorado is the first case that was allowed to go to trial. Frank and Joe Rodriguez are on a mission to help LGBTQ plus refugees in places like Afghanistan, where being queer can be life-threatening. But how do they extract people from those situations? Well, they tell me that it takes great partnerships to get the job done.
With all the work that, you two do, are you all able to partner or get support from our government or other organizations when it comes to your efforts?
Well, we definitely have worked with Rainbow Railroad in Toronto, in Canada, and also Rainbow. Actually, Joe, explain the affiliations.
Yeah, there's two organizations that are really leading. One is Rainbow Railroad in Toronto, and they provide places for people to go, countries for people to go throughout the world. So if you have a problem and you live in Syria or in Russia, you contact them. There's another organization called Rainbow Refugee on the west coast of Canada that provides private sponsorships where a circle of 5 people come together and actually sponsor someone to come to Canada or another country like that. And that generally requires someone to raise about $15,000 to get 5 people committed to bringing that refugee to safety. But, in the U.S., because immigration and refugee law are so divisive, and we just don't have quite the same program. But this new Welcome Corps program is promising. It's patterned off one of the Canadian programs, and we're just hoping to see it get up and running and bringing a lot more LGBTQ people to come. Frank has a saying, Frank, that really sort of captures the state for the LGBTQ.
Well, for Afghanistan, I mean, what we saw when the airlift happened is that LGBTQ are the last to be to be extracted, the last to be taken out, and the first to be executed. So we realize that our people are sort of the bottom of the barrel in terms of the concern of the world and safety of these people. And so that's been sort of a motivating force for us to advocate for this, for this very vulnerable group of people. I mean, really, every person that gets out of Afghanistan, they have a future that they would not have. I mean, they are most likely going to be killed if they are captured, and they have everything against them. Their families sometimes turn them in. Their other LGBTQ people use this information about their sexuality for blackmail, to get sexual favors, to get money. It's a really treacherous place to be if you are LGBTQ in Afghanistan now, and it's so unfortunate. So I think that's why we are so motivated to get people out.
And, is there anything that the people at home who are going to end up watching this interview, what can they do to help raise awareness about your work, or even just get involved?
Yeah. So I think, it'd be great. They can reach us at Rainbow World Fund. We are connected to that, and they're a humanitarian organization based in San Francisco. And they can donate to Rainbow Railroad, who's doing great work, Rainbow Refugee. They can also they can contact their local refugee resource center and see if there's any LGBT refugees coming in to that city. And, just being a good neighbor, helping someone find a couch, find a job, an apartment, helping them write their resume, just understand how to get along in a Western country like this. And, I think the last thing I would say is we need people to advocate for better laws. Immigration reform and refugee reform needs to happen in the United States. We need to be able to get people to the United States who are really vulnerable. Like Frank said, I mean, our people are being killed, and that's just not right. And the United States has been a leader in LGBTQ rights. It's a shame that we're not doing the same right now.
And I think awareness is something that's a word of mouth thing. I think if LGBTQ people talked about what's going on in Afghanistan, especially younger people, and, we don't see anything on TikTok. We don't see a lot of social media about this, because really it's far away. It doesn't seem like it's our problem, but these are our people, and it's a crisis. So that's one thing, I think, just for people to be aware that this is going on. And then also, like Joe said, younger people, I mean, a lot of the people that the refugees were getting out are under 25. So Canadians who are young LGBTQ could really help these people like integrate into society. They could just, help them just understand the community. So it's easy enough for them to connect with refugee organizations and ask specifically about LGBTQ refugees, and just get involved. Even just being friends, it just helps someone. Imagine going from Afghanistan to Canada and having no family, having no friends, just being in this new culture, just having another person who can, take you to a cafe, to explain how things work. Just that means everything.
I think Harvey Milk said it best. You got to give them hope. And he was talking about people in places like Indiana at the time in the 1970s. And we're trying to give people hope now. We can't take all the people from Afghanistan. It's a country of 40 million people, about the same size as California. But we're trying to take the most vulnerable and the people that have done the most for our community. So if your viewers are interested, please have them contact us. We will try to connect them and see how they can help out in the effort.
And thanks so much for watching The Advocates. Download the app in the Apple or Google Play Store to stream us live. And you can even subscribe to our YouTube channel. For The Advocate channel, I'm Aaron Dean.